Hey everybody, welcome to my first video on this YouTube channel. My first video is a very exciting one. I have finally passed the CCNA exam. Very exciting after many months of studying. It's good to see it all come together. So I just wanted to talk about some of my study methods. I don't want to break any, Cisco non-disclosure stuff, so I can't really talk about specifically what I saw on the exam, but I will give some pointers. I will give some resources as to how I was able to pass. So this is actually my second time passing the CCNA, not a first-timer, but I took the CCNA about 4 years ago, so it expired. I let it expire, which sucks. It sucks that it expires every 3 years, but it makes you stay educated and continue learning. And hopefully now I'm hoping to move on to the CCNP. But 4 years ago when I took the CCNA, it was a little bit different. It was when they first introduced the 200-301 exam. They kind of revamped it. There was no more CCENT. Now it's just one single CCNA exam. Back then, there were no lablets. There were no lab questions. It was really it was 100 multiple choice questions, which honestly is pretty rough. I really prefer this one that I took a few days ago, where you have 3 lab questions and you have I think it was about 85 or 90 multiple choice questions. It's so much more enjoyable, honestly, especially being tested on your ability to configure Cisco switches and routers. I mean, it's preparing you for the real world. And just from my experience on the test, none of the 3 were really all that complicated or in depth, or, they didn't throw a curveball. It was really sort of basic things. Nothing that I don't think anybody would get too tripped up on if you studied enough. There was no more than 4 or 5 tasks in each lablet question, so you can do that and you figure about 5 or 6 minutes. You really don't want to spend too much time on them, because that's really, the lablets are where you will start losing ground on your time on the test. So both times I took the test, I didn't really have a problem with the time, especially the first time around with multiple choice questions. When it's just multiple choice questions, you can really just start buzzing through it, because you will get some easy questions that you can just fly through within 15-20 seconds, and that puts you very far ahead, which is great. But the lablets are where things can get a little dicey, so you got to prepare. You got to be prepared. You got to know your OSPF. You got to know your layer 2 configurations, trunking, ether channel, and the best resource I can recommend for that is, honestly, I use BOSON NetSim as well as BOSON XSim, which is exam software and a network simulator. They give you a lab for literally any topic you can imagine: OSPF, access control lists, IP version 6, really any topic that they could possibly give you a lablet question on is in BOSON XSim. It's in BOSON NetSim. XSim is the exam simulator, and I have to say the practice exams on BOSON are difficult. They sort of, if you can pass a BOSON practice exam, like you're in a good spot. That's when it's time to take the test. Now, for just kind of my own lab environment, I use GNS3. You can use Packet Tracer. It's free, but Packet Tracer sometimes is kind of glitchy. Sometimes doesn't. Not everything functions too well. GNS3 is very annoying to set up, and it is also very clunky and slow and glitchy sometimes. And if you obviously need to find your own router and switch image, which is unfortunate. The software itself, GNS3, is free, but to simulate, or I guess in this case to emulate, Cisco routers and switches, you need to own an image of the iOS software. Now, obviously, for reading, I have the two official Cert guides. You can't go wrong with those. They're highly detailed, very good textbooks, sometimes too detailed. So, don't waste too much time trying to absorb everything that's on every page of that book, because it goes into hyper detail and it goes into many sort of run-on sentences and drags things out sometimes. But overall, it's very good. It will definitely prepare you very well for the test, and it's good to supplement that with video courses. I've used so many different video courses. Obviously, there's your classic David Bombal, who's great. Network Chuck is great. Jeremy's IT Lab, who I just discovered recently, his videos are amazing. They're the concepts are so well explained and well put together and summarized so well. I love his videos, and they're all free. I mean, these guys do this stuff for free, which I think is just crazy and very respectable. So Jeremy's IT Lab is great. CBT Nuggets is another website I used. That's a paid service. It's a monthly paid subscription. I think it's about $65, which is a little steep. But that's actually what I used when I passed the CCNA the first time. It really helped to have the videos, along with they also have practice tests and quizzes, and they have their own little lab environment that you get to configure routers and switches on. So I've pulled up the exam objectives, and I kind of just want to go through here on what I think is very important to focus on. Just in my opinion, I mean, obviously you want to go through this whole thing and study and learn everything. So at the bottom, there's this new topic. Well, it's not really new at this point. It's been around on the CCNA for a couple years now, but automation and programmability is only 10% of the test. But in my honest opinion, I think it might be a little bit more than that behind the scenes. This is obviously all very, still somewhat new to the networking world. They really want you to learn this stuff. And I guarantee you on the new version of the CCNA, this is probably going to be you're probably going to see this even more, even though it doesn't say it on the new exam objectives, version 1.1. I would spend a lot of time with automation and programmability. Make sure you know northbound and southbound APIs, and just make sure you know really the key differences between traditional networking and controller-based networking. If you can, get on Packet Tracer, hook up a wireless LAN controller, and get used to the GUI and get used to kind of how you set that up. NAT is very important. Make sure if you're looking at if it shows you a NAT table, make sure you understand, okay, what's the inside global address? What's the outside global address? What's the inside private or the inside local? What's the outside local? So just make sure you can look at a NAT table, NAT translation table. OSPF and routing is huge. Spend as much time as you possibly can learning IPv4 routing, how to interpret a routing table. A question like, hey, this IP address just came in on the router. Here's the routing table. Where is it going? Make sure you're very comfortable and very quick with interpreting a routing table. OSPF, lab OSPF as much as you can. Now Cisco doesn't give you a score, which I was a little disappointed on, because I was expecting to see my score and I wanted to see that I did better than I did the first time I passed the CCNA. They don't give you a score anymore. It used to be a certain score out of 1,000. Now it's just broken down by all of these different sections, and it gives you a percentage of how well you did in each section. And comparing that alone to how I did the first time, I think I would have scored better, which is nice to know. I would also learn spanning tree as much as you can. That goes without saying. Ether channel is just good to know for when you get your first job. Ether channel is going to be everywhere, as well as VLANs. Make sure that you know VLANs as best as you can, and how native VLANs work and how they work over a trunk link, and how you can set the native VLAN over a trunk and allow certain VLANs over a trunk. Spanning trees, personally, my least favorite topic on the CCNA. I had a hard time learning spanning tree. I think most people can agree. Spanning tree and subnetting are just two of the main roadblocks towards achieving your CCNA and learning networking in general. And if you can get good with those two areas, you're very close to taking the test and passing it. Spanning tree and subnetting is it's a big hurdle when you first starting out. It seems very complicated. Just take your time. Take it slow. Absorb everything you can, and eventually it'll all make sense to you. And once you're past learning subnetting and spanning tree, and then you can move on to the heavier stuff like routing and OSPF, and because subnetting, you'll pick it up a lot easier. You're close. You're very close. So I believe this month at the end of August, the CCNA switches over to version 1.1. There's a couple different exam topics. Nothing too major has changed. I believe there's AI, a section about AI on there now. There's BPDU filter, which has been added. So that goes into effect, I think, as this video goes live. So make sure you're looking at the latest CCNA exam version 1.1. And like I said, I just have a feeling you guys will be questioned a lot about automation and programmability. So I hope this video has been informative. Good luck on your CCNA. It is a big journey. It's a big challenge. So thank you for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more networking videos. I'm going to be doing some CCNA tutorials. We're going to be going over some topics on the CCNA and some more fun stuff. So if you're taking your CCNA soon, good luck. You will do fine. You'll do great. You're going to pass it. No worries. Honestly, going into the exam, you'll have a lot of nerves and you'll be nervous. But if you're prepared, you'll get to a certain point when you're taking the test where it's like, yeah, I got this. I felt that both times I took this test. You just get into at a certain point when you're taking the test, you're just like, yeah, I got this. Or maybe you're like, yeah, no, I totally failed this, which would suck. But I hope that's not the case for you. Good luck on your test, and I will see you in the next video.